insecurity to unemployment, crime, and educational systems. For the next 2 days, behavioral health leaders from as close as Pittsburgh and as far as Dublin, Ireland, Stockholm, Sweden, and Sydney, Australia, will convene here to discuss why their work matters and what can be done to ensure that communities around the globe have access to the supports and services they need to overcome the obstacles leading to leading healthy and happy lives. It's a Monday, my mouth doesn't work as fast. Here in Philadelphia, we have been very fortunate to be at the forefront of such work. In fact, iCircle was conceived just 2 years ago by our own Dr. Arthur Evans, the former commissioner of our Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, who played a key role in increasing conversation around and support of mental health services. We don't take lightly the world-renowned reputation Philadelphia has for its work to address behavioral health through a population health approach. DPH-IDS continues to engage in a wide range of people from outside of its system to strengthen community resilience and capacity, taking steps to go beyond clinical support by leveraging strategic community partnerships. One such example is the Mural Arts Porch Light Program, a unique collaborative between DPH-IDS and the city's Mural Arts Program. This initiative turns art into inspiration, bringing together local artists, behavioral health service recipients, community members, providers, local funders, and academic partners to improve their understanding of behavioral health conditions. iCircle participants will actually go on a mural arts tour during their 2-day stay in Philadelphia, getting an up-close look at how art impacts the emotional growth and well-being of people and communities throughout our city. We are honored that iCircle participants chose to include Philadelphia on their United States trip, and I'm confident that our behavioral health professionals will provide them with an insightful, informative, and engaging 2 days here. We're proud to be considered a leader in behavioral health field and look forward to working with our friends from countries around the world to make this world a better place in which to live. Before I turn it over to Commissioner Jones, I just want to say thank you for coming to Philadelphia. And I know for all the multiple countries you've come from, things in the United States are not too attractive these days to want to come here in the first place. So we're happy that you actually came here and are choosing Philadelphia. So much, we were just talking early on about the stress that our kids are going through now. Our DACA kids, our people here on temporary status. I mean, I was at a grade school about a month ago in South Philadelphia, and they had a chance to come up to the microphone, these little sweeties, and ask questions of me, and they all, 2/3 of them wanted to know if I could keep their parents from being deported. So we're not in a terrific time in this country, and hopefully the work that you do and how you interact with each other and then come up with these best practices and help us cope with what's going on. We recently put 22, it's just a pilot program, 22 social service workers in our schools directly, and 22 of the schools who are located in struggling neighborhoods. Because as I said, these kids, whether they're DACA kids or whether they're native born here, they see so much and hear so much, and it's just horrible. So we're trying to get to the front of the problem before we have to deal with them later on the back. So thank you for coming here. Enjoy. Reading Terminal Market is you can't miss. If you want to spend, if you're busy working and you got a couple hours you want to spend and see all of Philadelphia, that's like the microcosm of where it's at. There's all great food there, and you have Philadelphians, conventioners, visitors, tourists, everybody. So take a shot there and have fun while you're in the city. Thanks.
So as Mayor said, I'm David Jones. I'm the current commissioner for the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, and I certainly want to thank Mayor Kinney for his presence this morning. I think it highlights kind of how important this is, and also thank the mayor for continuing to take action to demonstrate his commitment to addressing the needs of vulnerable Philadelphians. We also, as the mayor mentioned, want to welcome the former commissioner, Dr. Evans, and thank him for his many years of outstanding leadership. And again, I'm reiterating, we want to welcome both our international and our national guests to the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, right? We are honored to have thought leaders on mental health and substance use disorders, and look forward to exchanging ideas over the next couple of days, and as I said to Friend, hopefully more the years to come. As the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, we will continue to take that population health approach to really build upon the decade of works that have come before us. And as you heard the mayor mention, just even some of the challenges as it relates to DACA that some of the young people are having, we really are going to be focusing going forward on bolstering the child and family component of our behavioral health system. Inherent actually in that strategy encompasses actually our long-term effort to combat a number of challenges that we're having in the city and certainly throughout the country, and probably for that matter throughout the world, chief among them being the opioid epidemic. It actually will give us an opportunity to follow up on the recommendations made to the mayor on a task force that he appointed to address the opioid epidemic. This strategy, again, a population health approach, will allow us to address kind of some of the health disparities that are occurring and the inequities that have occurred for people with mental health and substance use disorder that are involved in the criminal justice system. Equally important, though, is our strategy that will allow us to provide services much earlier on the continuum. You know, you start to think about wellness, health, and illness, and what we know is we really want to provide as much support when people are well to help keep them well. One of the things that in our department that I continue to enjoy and really like to highlight is the fact that we have people with lived experience at every level of our system. And I think that's important because their outstanding work speaks both to the subtle and explicit ideas around stigma, that in fact we have people who are in recovery, who are doing really well, living high quality lives, and there's nothing like the proof in showing that. We also will continue to maintain our commitment to having science inform the evidence-based and promising practices to ensure that Philadelphians receive the most effective behavioral health treatment. And we look forward on that note to really engaging in information sharing and information exchanges, again, with our national and international guests, because as I had indicated, you know, we really have folks who are thought leaders in this area, and we are really, really excited for them to be here in Philadelphia. With that said, I actually, I'm going to turn it over to Arthur Evans, who, as we said, was a former commissioner, but is currently the CEO and Executive Vice President of the American Psychological Association, and as we all know, an outstanding man.
Good morning. It's good to be back in Philadelphia. First thing I want to do is to congratulate Mayor Kinney on hiring an outstanding commissioner in David Jones. I get to travel around the country, and I can tell you, Mayor, you could not have found a better person to lead this agency than David Jones. So congratulations on that great hire. And also thank you, Mayor, for your leadership in behavioral health. When I was here as commissioner, it was very clear that this was very important to you. It was important to you as a councilman, as a city council, and as a mayor, and I can tell you the work of the agency could not go forward without your support, so thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to be back in Philadelphia, and I want to also welcome visitors from both nationally and internationally, and particularly Fran Silvestri, who you'll hear from in a moment. One of the questions that I think the press might have is, well, why Philadelphia? Why are people convening in Philadelphia? And I will tell you that one of the things that we've learned here in Philadelphia is that the issues, and there's actually a growing recognition around the country that issues of mental health, addiction, play out at the community level. And most policy is set either at a federal level or at a state level. And Philadelphia is unique in that for many years, for several decades, it has had embedded within the fabric of city government an agency that is looking at issues of mental health and substance use. And the thing that we've learned is that these issues play out at that level, and that if we want to have effective policy and strategies, we also have to come up with policies and strategies at that level. When the mayor came in, one of the things that he made clear is that he had some agendas around making Philadelphia a better place. And I think this mayor, previous mayors understand that you cannot create a healthy, wealthy community without having strategies around addressing mental health and substance use. One of the mayor's major strategies or major goals has been to improve pre-K education for children and give children more access. And I can tell you that in doing that work, mental health has been essential, because so many of the children who come into school come in with a whole set of social and emotional problems that make it difficult for them to benefit. And so this idea that mental health plays out at the city level is really important. Really the vision behind iCircle and Fran, and looking at other cities and around the country and actually around the world that are also looking at these issues at the city level. The last thing I'll say is this, that at the American Psychological Association, our role and our goal is to advance and improve society and improve people's lives through the application of psychological science and psychological practice. And I can think of no place in the country that has been doing that for many, many years than Philadelphia. David mentioned the use of evidence-based practices, using the best science to figure out what helps children. If you look at the work that's happening in Philadelphia with trauma, for example, looking at the psychological research around trauma and its impact on children, and then developing a comprehensive public health set of strategies to address trauma is just one example of that. But there are many examples where Philadelphia has used the best science, the best research, and then extrapolated that to a comprehensive approach to deal with these issues, not one person at a time, but as a community. And that large population health approach is very exciting, and I can tell you that our association is thrilled to help support this work and thrilled to engage in iCircle as this work goes forward. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Thank all of our visitors for being here, and I look forward to participating over the next day around this issue. Thank you. I was so excited I forgot to do a really important thing, and that was to introduce Fran Silvestri, who is really the thought leader behind this whole initiative. And he's going to come and talk about iCircle and how it's going to go forward.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner Jones, and Arthur for inviting us here, and also thank the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disabilities for all the work in being able to host us today. Well, I'm not from Philadelphia. As an Italian-American, I had family from Philly. And yesterday was a really nice chance to catch up with them at lunch. And I can tell you that my cousins are big fans of you, Mayor. Really? They really appreciate what you've been doing for the city. The International Initiative of Mental Health Leadership began in 2003 as a unique international collaboration between 8 sponsoring countries: Australia, Canada, England, the Republic of Ireland, New Zealand, Scotland, Sweden, and the United States. And we do recognize Scotland as an independent country. We have roughly 4,000 of the key leaders as members, and that is at national level, state, cities, urban, people who run services, people with lived experience who run services, family members, and researchers. We understand that there's a great difficulty in planning and organizing services and supports for people in distress, their families, and their communities in city and urban governments. The city of Philadelphia is viewed internationally as an example of how to plan, organize supports, in a city-urban landscape that uses innovation, creative solutions to transform services into a public and population approach while still planning the care and supports for the people most in need. Developments like Philadelphia and cities such as New York, London, the West Midlands, Christchurch, Vancouver, Sydney, and others are on a journey to transform the city and urban environment into a livable environment where all people thrive. Our meetings this week in Philadelphia and New York City are designed to build a learning collaborative and support leaders within the U.S. and overseas to rapidly share and implement the newest and effective practices in city and urban areas. And for those of us from outside the U.S., thank you again for inviting us to come to Philadelphia. We're thrilled about being here and looking forward for the next 2 days. Thank you.
So we just wanted to open up for questions at this point. Thanks, everyone.